What is up, Texas Tech Red Raiders fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Tim here with the Texas Tech Red Raiders Daily Blitz. It is Saturday. It is Saturday night, which means, of course, it is Baylor post-game edition Red Raiders Daily Blitz. And, oh my God, what an absolute ass-whooping that one was. Just a complete thrashing. The Baylor Bears and Dave Aranda put on his buddy Joey McGuire and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Sawyer Robertson comes into town on homecoming, appropriately enough. The Lubbock native who had zero offers from any local schools in Texas, not even the Red Raiders, and was forced to go to Mississippi State to start his college career. And then, of course, moved on to Baylor. And then rolls into town because of the injured DeQuan Finn, who apparently wasn't that injured because we saw him come into the game later. Robertson throws 5 touchdown passes against the Red Raiders as Baylor stuns Texas Tech 59-39, 59-35. And by the way, the game was not nearly that close. On homecoming night, the tortillas were flying. Unfortunately, the flags were flying too, for really both teams. But Sawyer Robertson, the Baylor Bears quarterback, comes into town, throws 5 touchdowns. That's a career high for him. 3 of those to Josh Cameron on his very first visit to his hometown, leading Baylor to a stunning 59-35 victory over Tech on Saturday. Bryson Washington ran for 2 scores as the Bears ended an 8-game conference losing streak and stopped the Red Raiders' 6-game home winning streak, their longest in 15 years. Well, it's over now, isn't it? Robertson, as I mentioned, started his career at Mississippi State as the 2020 Texas High School Player of the Year out of Lubbock. He went 21-32 for 274 yards without an interception. The Bears, who are now 3-4 overall, 1-3 in the Big 12, scored their most points against an FBS opponent since a 61-6 victory over Kansas on November 30th, 2019. Baron Morton finished 33 of 49 for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns, but set up one of Baylor's scores with his first interception at home this season, as the Red Raiders had a 4-game winning streak stopped. Red Raiders fall to 5-2, 3-1 in the conference. Washington scored twice from the half-yard line following long plays that were ruled touchdowns and overturned on reviews. The first was his own 44-yard run in the first quarter. The second was Cameron's 73-yard punt return in the second quarter. Cameron's first touchdown catch was a 6-yarder for a 24-12 Baylor lead with 4 seconds remaining in the first half. That had answered a Texas Tech TD to start the second half, and the last one put the Bears up 52-21 early in the fourth quarter. Texas Tech tight end Jalen Conyers threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to Caleb Douglas after taking an inside handoff from Morton. That was kind of a cool play. I wouldn't mind seeing that one brought out again. Washington ran for 116 yards on 10 carries. Cameron had 6 catches for 75 yards. Texas Tech's Taj Brooks, who entered the game third nationally in rushing yards per game, had 125 yards and a 31-yard TD on 25 carries. Again, kind of in garbage time. As the Texas Tech Texas Tech defense had absolutely zero answers for the Red Raiders, or for the Baylor offense. Every time Texas Tech scored, Baylor would answer. The crowd would get into it, Baylor would answer. The crowd was never into this game except maybe for the tortilla throw at the opening kickoff. That was about it. And it was not pretty, boys and girls. This was not a pretty game. This reminds me of the Washington State game, where literally nothing offensively would click. Yes, I know Tech scored 35 points. They scored 21 in the second half. The game was almost over. By the way, they scored 21 in the second half. They allowed 35 points in the second half to Baylor. And like I said, every single time Tech would score, and get a little bit of momentum, Baylor would take it right away from them. And it was frustrating to watch. I can only imagine how frustrating it was to be a part of it as a Texas Tech Baylor or as a Texas Tech player. But, man, this was the best showing Baylor has put up in quite a while after taking some heat off fifth-year coach Dave Aranda, who is, for all practical purposes, fighting for his job in Waco right now. The Bears still have lost their previous 8 home Big 12 games since win over Kansas on October 22nd back in 2022. Last year they finished 3-9. Aranda was kept around. Surely this win, of course, will, extend his stay a little bit. If the score had been the other way around and Baylor looked as bad as Tech looked tonight, he might be gone tomorrow. But he's not, because they won. So, a Texas Tech victory, the Red Raiders had a lot to play for. A Texas Tech victory probably would have put them in the top 25, which would have been their first top 25 ranking under McGuire. But instead, now all of the questions are going to come up. Are the Red Raiders reverting back to early season form when they barely beat FCS Abilene Christian and then lost handily to Washington State? I don't think any of that has anything to do with it. I think they ran into a Baylor Bears team that knew this Texas Tech team really, really well. Don't forget, Aranda and McGuire have history with each other at Baylor, and they're good buddies. So I think this was just a situation of Tech running into a steamroller Baylor team who was probably a little better prepared. And, I know this is a sports cliche, but that wanted it more. I mean, that's what it looked like to me on the field, that they just wanted it more. I hate saying that because there's no way to possibly judge that with any accuracy. But, just what the eyeball test tells you things just did not go well from the start for the Red Raiders here. And again, I know they put up 35. That was an ugly 35. And a couple of those scores were very, very late in the game when this thing, actually probably 21 of those points were probably when this thing was out of hand. So, take it for what it is. The Red Raiders have struggled on the road under McGuire, and the next 2 are on the road. TCU next Saturday, and then they head to Ames, Iowa for number 9 Iowa State on November 2nd. You really needed a win here because I don't know about those 2 games, to be honest with you. But if they don't correct some things here, Texas Tech could be looking at a 3-game losing streak after the first game in November against Iowa State. None of us want that because that would put them back at 5-5 on the season. They still need a win to be bowl eligible, which I have no doubt they'll get there, but it would have been nice to see that happen tonight in Week 8. It is what it is, and time marches on. Red Raiders 35, Baylor Bears 59. I would love to hear what you guys think about this whole thing. Let me know on either X or on Threads at IndyCarTim, or you can leave a comment under the video section here in the comment section on the FanStream Sports YouTube channel. Love to hear from you and know what your thoughts are. We will do it all again as we preview TCU this week. And until then, boys and girls, we'll see you.